Gender identity is a sense of whether you're male or female.
Gender identity is the gender that you identify with to some extent regardless of your body.
Gender is a very primeval perception of ourselves. It may not always tie in with the physical body, but we virtually all know what gender we are when we're still very young.
A body is a purely physical thing which you grow up with, whereas a person is the sort of sum total of what you think about. It's an emergent property of the body. It's something intangible.
It's the internal map, because in your mind you know who you are, you know what you are. I'm Diane Hughes. I'm a woman. I used to be a transsexual.
What makes me androgynous and why do I have two parts? Well, for a start, everybody has two parts, but it's something which is not particularly recognised. And I've always felt like that. And I think it was a long time before I realised that everybody else didn't feel like that. It felt perfectly natural to me.
Well, my name is Stephen, and I was 36 in August, and came to Ireland from Austria 8 years ago.
Well, I refer to them as Richard and Lucy, I suppose. It's a kind of shorthand. They're just, very active aspects of my personality.
My gender identity is really male, and if I need to qualify against genetic men, I say I'm a transgendered man.
I'm a person who just has a kind of more open, diverse view of themselves. I'm not institutionalised.
Hi, Ben. Hi, darling. How are you? Good. Sit there.
Oh, Jesus, didn't say that last time. But Richard is just a jolly sort of person who goes and does butch and macho things and likes to dress up in women's clothing. It's very a Myra Hindley moment. And Lucy is also a jolly person who likes to go and do butch and macho things and wears her own clothing. I'm more than a transvestite because I'm changing my body's hormonal content, which most of them wouldn't do. I tend towards bisexual anyway. But I say in some ways the closest I am, the closest to fit into one of those would be a drag queen, but I'm not, they tend to be just exclusively gay, which I'm not. I'm in between the whole lot.
I just walk along down the street, through town, anywhere, and I'm just a bloke, essentially.
Have you been to this market before?
No, actually not.
Are you serious?
No, never.
I suppose you're not in town much on Saturday,
exactly.
are you?
It's kind of it.
Because it's really nice.
Yeah.
And now for the cakes.
Cakes.
They're impossible to resist.
Christ, yeah.
I know.
It can only get better, even still, So life is fantastic, essentially.
My quality of life's improved dramatically because I've had gender reassignment surgery. I'm a lot happier in myself because I feel at home in myself. You can't know other people until you know yourself. Family life's certainly a lot more pleasant now.
Right, we'll see you later. Yeah. So, got your phone?
I do. Go on, honey.
Give us a shout when you get back and we'll pick up.
Tickets.
I'm more relaxed with myself, so there's not this constant pressure that I have to live with. So certainly family life it's a lot calmer than it used to be.
I'm the offspring of an American father and a German mother. My father died in 1968 when I was 18 months old. So I was raised by my mother as an only child, actually. And my mother in these days is an artist, and actually the painting in the background is one of hers.
Right, I was an only child. I was born in Wrexham, North Wales. Mother was a homemaker. Father was an ex-RAF sergeant who worked in a chemical plant. Very ordinary sort of childhood, but from my earliest recollections, I knew I wasn't like other boys. So, with that sort of situation, I knew that there's only one other option in this sort of society. I had to be a girl. I was born, the doctor looked at my genitals and went, "Ah, boy." He didn't actually look at my brain or my personality or my soul. He just looked at some little tiny snapshot of who I was or who they wanted me to be. And of course, I had to try and fit into that because my teachers, my peer group, my parents, they all expected me to fit that. For me, that was highly problematic because I knew I wasn't a boy. I knew all the time that I wasn't a boy.
It's never really been a problem for me having a fluid gender identity because I've never had any major kind of angst feelings about it. I've never doubted it. I've always been fairly comfortable with it. Maybe I'm a very secretive person, perhaps like that, and I can sort of duck out of it. And that might be a bit dishonest, but I suppose that's what I'm trying to deal with now, that I'm defiantly going to be both parts of myself. But in fairness, it hasn't really ever been a big problem. And for me, my aim, I suppose, is to be a balanced, rounded person rather than to perhaps put myself into another box, which wasn't the box that I was born in, if you like.
I felt terribly isolated from my peers, roughly from when puberty rolled along. I didn't even question puberty that much any longer because by then I was 13 and really sort of knew this was going to happen, you know. So I didn't have that sense that some transsexual or transgender people report that puberty hit them completely out of the blue. I mean, I was in terms of cognition, I knew it was going to be, you know, but certainly a complete loss of direction, really, in which direction to grow as a person and how to relate to the world around me. But by then I had so successfully sort of blocked out gender dysphoria that I was just lost, you know. I didn't think of if I would be a boy, I would be okay because I didn't permit myself to think that, you know. So I was just basically in a big fog through all my teenage years. And actually by the age of 17, 18, it got really bad. I got bad anxiety attacks and the like, and something of a nervous breakdown right after school.
I think I identified as a transsexual quite young, really, but it was coming to terms with it. It took until I was 38 to actually come to terms with it. I was getting quite ill at the time with depression because my life was going nowhere. I mean, we'd done a lot. We moved to Ireland, we'd started our project here, living a self-sufficient lifestyle. But my life still wasn't going anywhere because I was just living a lie. And Caroline could see I was getting quite sick at this point because I was drinking a lot. My health was failing, my skin was bad, my hair was falling out. I was literally dying on my feet. And anyway, Caroline said, "Look, you're going to have to go to the doctors. You're going to have to get some help for this." Because she always knew I had a gender identity issue.
It was an extremely formal upbringing that I had. My mother loathed going to children's parties, so I spent most of my childhood wandering around with her, largely to escape my, God love him, rather difficult father. I mean, you can straight away see the kind of influence which made me take on, perhaps in that way, you know, respect or a longing for the female side, because for various reasons it seemed more effective to me. And so I was quite a solitary child. I can remember delving into the linen basket when I was 4 and knowing that this was something really exciting, but also something that was quite naughty and that you shouldn't tell other people. I knew that it was something you didn't talk about perhaps too much, but I never felt particularly bad about it. It has always been part of my landscape. And I think that's I find that a very empowering thing.